Hi, welcome everybody. How you guys doing tonight? Oh, I got that turned up a little bit too loud. I just seen that. But how you guys doing tonight, everybody? Hopefully everybody's having a great night. Hi Nana, hi Sandra, hi BK, hi Wanda, hi other Wanda, hi Susan, hi Lynn, hi Mark, hi Mackenzie, hi Joe, hi Randy. How you guys doing tonight? Hi William, how you doing? First one on oh you want a baby Yoda and $50? That's something. Awesome. Hi, Rodney. Hi, Eden. Hi, Sherry. How you guys doing tonight? Hopefully, everyone's having a good night out there. I mean, not some good news going on, but food shortages and war, maybe. About to see coming the 9th. But of course, the White House is hosting its first food insecurity conference in over 50 years. As the White House convenes a conference and convenes a White House conference in September focused on ending hunger, improving nutrition across the nation. The U.S. has seen higher rates of food insecurity than amidst the pandemic and over the last 50 years. It's crazy what's going on. The landmark event led to expansions of the food stamp program, of course, the one that was held last time. So it's crazy. It's crazy. The White House is hoping that this year's conference will result in a plan to reduce rates of diabetes, obesity, and hypertension among Americans and accelerate efforts to end hunger across the nation. The conference comes as grocery prices are skyrocketing and supply chain problems further contribute to food insecurity and exacerbating already existing issues and making it harder for Americans to shop for even weekly staples. Too many families don't know where they're going to get their next meal. Too many empty chairs around the kitchen table because of a loved one who was taken by heart disease, diabetes, or a diet-oriented disease, which are some of the leading causes of death in our country. The pandemic was a stark reminder of an urgent need for sustained action as more Americans experience hunger. Seeing it. Diet-related disease heighten the risk of severe COVID. It's time for a real change. Ukraine is showing us anything right now. It's that we take food for granted and that the world is about to go hungry because of what's happening in Ukraine. The global food supply has been affected. The fertilizer has been affected. We've all been affected in one way or another. And it's getting scary. Hi, TN. Hi, Bill or Brian. You guys come in here. I want to make sure I say hi. But yeah, but not looking pretty out there. As of course, we're in danger of running out of food as higher prices and demand squeeze on food banks. The swift rise in food prices has led a lot of people to this effect were their food wrangling or efforts at making sure they get to what they need. Even pantries are having problems with getting food, including, and they're having many more customers, according to many first timers, as soaring inflation eats away at what's affordable at the supermarket, what you can actually get. At the same time, federal pandemic relief programs, such as monthly enhanced child credits, have ended. Pantries are contending with higher costs, supply chain problems, which would make it harder for anybody to get food, even at food banks. 65% of the 200 food banks in Feeding America's network reported seeing a greater demand for food assistance in March compared with the previous month, with an average increase of 15% more people, according to the latest data. The largest hunger relief organization, about 30% of food banks say they have served the same number of clients. It's scary. 15% more people are going hungry, having to end up in food lines. And this is what I was talking about. It's happening. It's not something that's happening in the near future. It's not something that might happen. It's happening. I mean, the cost of food eaten at home jumped over 10%. March, I mean, the latest data shows that meat soared 14.8%. White milk increased by almost 13% or 13.5%. Eggs rose 11%. This is data coming from March. So this is pre egg issues that we're having now and meat issues that we're having now. While fresh fruit is still 10% higher, rice rose by almost 10% and bread rose by almost 10%. I mean, food banks right now are having a problem because they're buying just as much food or more than they did in 2021, but they're paying 40% more for the purchases. It's a scary situation. Most organizations out there that are raising food or money for food are suffering with at least a 20% decrease in donations. I know here we've been suffering with the decrease in donations, and I understand people can't afford it. But the problem is that that's food manufacturing and issues with that, of course, all raise the cost of doing what we need to do. And it's causing a big problem. A lot of people are spending time just trying to make ends meet at their own home. I mean, a case of corn went from $13 2 years ago to up to $26 now. That's a huge problem, especially when food pantries are then being limited 20 cases. They can only order 20 cases. It's really becoming a problem. They can only get like up to, I think you can get like 4 cases of pancake mix. It used to be through a federal government program, and now it was 20. Now it's 4 cases of pancake mix, 5 cases of spaghetti, and they used to be no restriction on spaghetti. There's no way to stockpile any items for small pantries. They can't even get through a week or two. Problems are happening very quickly, and it's going to get worse. I mean, Europe's ban on Russian oil is going to make bigger problems for energy prices and your gas prices. It's going to get even more volatile in the energy market, and hence for gasoline prices to go up. As crude prices jumped today after European Union proposed a ban on oil imports from Russia as part of a new round of sanctions targeting the country after the invasion of Ukraine. The details are still being hammered out, but the proposal seems to be or needs to be unanimous, agreed upon by 27 members of the bloc before it goes into final effect. Brent crude across global benchmarks for oil jumped 4%. And how much could it impact will there be on oil markets? Well, crude oil prices will likely go even higher still after already surging from Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Europe is largely dependent on Russian oil imports. It gets about a quarter of its oil from Russia, by far the biggest single source of oil imports into the country, or into the continent of Europe. Though Russia could find other buyers like India for crude, it's unlikely Russia will be able to sell the entire allotment that would usually go to Europe. Heavy sanctions that have made, of course, traditional buyers reluctant to deal with Russia. As part of the latest proposal, the EU would seek a ban from European ships from transporting Russian oil. Ultimately, it's expected to EU to ban Russian oil imports will result in a loss of 2 million barrels a day from Russia. Of course, that means they're going to have to get their oil elsewhere. Where are they going to turn? The same place that the U.S. is buying oil from. In fact, the U.S. has been urging Europe to be cautious, considering its ban on its oil ban, given Russia could make up for its lost revenue from sales, of course, to China or other countries. And we're looking at what's happening in China. China is locked down, but is it really just China preparing for war? As we know what's happening around the globe, it's a scary situation. Is China testing their people on their resilience and their ability to be pushed around if they go for a full-scale invasion of Taiwan? And that could be coming very shortly. Very, very shortly. It's going to be a bad situation. Gas prices and diesel prices. Can you imagine paying $12 a gallon for diesel, Brian? Paying $9.50 or $9.67, actually $9.70 for gas. That's what it's looking like it's coming to. European citizens will be hit for sure, but the U.S. it's hard to see any relief in sight for gas prices. It's a scary situation. That's why our government should have invested properly and done the right thing a long time ago. Of course, oil cartel OPEC and its allies group known as OPEC Plus is in the best position to make up for lost supplies. But they're not going to. It's very unlikely that they'll produce any extra oil. For one, Russia is member of OPEC Plus. Any move against Russia jeopardizes the alliance that has long become important in stabilizing global oil prices. Bigger concerns are some members of OPEC Plus are struggling to meet their current quotas due to political strife and underinvestment. OPEC Plus countries have been gradually increasing production by about 430,000 barrels per day since last summer, in a steady effort to get back to pre-pandemic production levels. But OPEC meets again Thursday and is largely expected to maintain its current plan to increase production only gradually. What about U.S. producers? Well, U.S. is the world's biggest producer of oil, but most of it is oil is consumed domestically. More drilling is a lot easier said than done. It'll take months for even the fastest producers to build a new well. The labor challenges and supply chain problems are lengthening that timeline. Oil companies are still proceeding cautiously. These companies are beholden to their investors, and their investors don't want to invest in further drilling if you can't get the permits. They lost a lot of money in the oil crash at the beginning of the pandemic, and growing concerns about environmental impact are making them hesitant on investing future. Further, U.S. producers aren't completely dragging their feet, though. As U.S. Energy Information Administration forecasts, U.S. producers will increase output by an average of about 800,000 barrels a day this year. But it's hard to go faster than that. And it simply doesn't make up for an expected loss of Russian oil. People don't realize how much we were buying. We're burning 3 million barrels a day, and of course we stopped buying that from Russia. So we had to get that from other suppliers. It's one thing after another. Of course, nobody's talking about what actually is happening. Of course, officials are worried about what's going to happen come May 9th, which is Victory Day in Russia. Of course, the 70th day of Putin's war in Ukraine, but at least Russia, the war isn't official just yet. Russia's leadership continues to tout the invasion as a special operation, but that might all change on Victory Day, the day Russia celebrates the Soviet Union's victory in World War II. Vladimir Putin is preparing to declare war against Ukraine on Victory Day, May 9th, as Western and Ukraine officials believe. Putin will declare a full mobilization for war on May 9th. Ukraine's top military spies predicted this week, and U.S. officials are also warning that Russia could declare war as soon as May 9th as well. Some senior U.S. officials fear Putin will massively escalate attacks in Ukraine in coming days, and growing and increasingly concerned that Putin is growing desperate to declare some sort of win for Ukraine in Ukraine as Victory Day approaches. Does that mean he's going to use nuclear weapons? Does that mean what is he going to do to get a win before then? And how far will he go? Because, of course, a lot of people are saying that he needs a victory to even survive at this point, but, of course, they don't want a repeat of Afghanistan, a literal existing threat to the regime that is built on the idea that the strong man leader can revive the glory of the Russian Empire. The official who spoke on the condition of anonymity to speak candidly said that the pressure to deliver a victory, any kind of victory, could set in motion an unprecedented escalation. Russia would be announcing mobilization or officially declaring war on Ukraine on Victory Day. It's going to be a big thing going forward. And this could mean, obviously, pulling us in. It's sad. Yeah, Russia has plenty of weapons. It's just sad what's happening, though. It is sad because we're going into a fight, of course, now that we're going to have to deal with for the long run. As the UK and Japan, of course, rapidly accelerate defenses because they see what's happening. That's all speculation. According to any information that we do have out of Russia, their plans for Victory Day are to declare full-scale war. According to what we've seen. Declaring war on formally is more of a formality that would allow Russia to tap into reserve forces to swell its military operations on the ground in Ukraine and reach a more decisive victory. Of course, the symbolic Victory Day comes at a moment. The symbolism to Victory Day comes at a moment where Putin needs all the help he can get. Of course, with the U.S. and the EU, of course, supplying weapons at alarming rates. And if you think it's just speculation, then why is Belarus beginning snap combat readiness drills? Today, the armed forces of Belarus began suddenly large-scale drills to test their combat readiness. The defense minister of Ukraine, of course, said Belarus is a close ally of Russia, which invaded Ukraine in late February, immediately after holding joint drills with Minsk, and had allowed it to move more focused closer to Ukraine border. Russia calls its actions in Ukraine a special military operation still, but is planned that the combat readiness test will involve movement of significant numbers of military vehicles. Of course, Belarus ministry said in a statement, it will only slow down traffic somewhat. The ministry, of course, said that the exercise posed no threat to its neighbors and the European community in general. Belarus President Alexander spoke to his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin on Tuesday. The two discussed the Russian operations in Ukraine, amongst other issues. Areas in Ukraine adjacent to Belarus, including the capital of Kiev, came under Russian assault in the initial stages of the invasion, but now Russia has focused its attacks more in eastern and southeastern regions. So Belarus is getting ready as well. It's not just Russia at this point. There's already a bounty on Putin's head. There's already a bounty on Putin's head. It's just crazy, though. It is crazy. Well, Hannity could say it's been verified, but there's no verification that Putin has any kind of cancer. No legitimate verification yet. There are doctors speaking saying that that's most likely the fact. But of course, now we're fighting this huge rate increase that's going to cause bigger problems for people with credit cards, of course, mortgages, and other things. Is this 0.5% rate increase? Federal Reserve increased its benchline interest rates by 0.5% today, in line with market expectations. In addition, the central bank outlined a program which eventually reduces its bond holdings by $950 billion a month. The rate move is the largest since 2000, and it's responsible for beginning to inflation pressures. The Federal Reserve, of course, raising its benchmark rates by 0.5% to fight against 40-year high inflation. Inflation is much too high, as we understand the hardships it's causing. We're moving expeditiously to bring it down. Of course, that was Federal Chairman Jerome Powell said during the news conference, which he opened with an unusual direct address to the American people. He noted the burden of inflation on lower-income people, saying, we're strongly committed to restoring price stability. What does price stability mean in the United States anymore? And will it work? As federal funds set rates, How much will banks charge each other from short-term lending? But it's also tied very, very adjacent to adjustable rate consumer debt, like credit cards and mortgage payments. When those payments go up, the poor or the people that aren't in the higher class echelon of people are the ones that suffer the most. They're the ones that suffer most. Yeah, it went from 1,500 a month to over 1,900. But imagine you're using a credit card to buy gas. You're using a credit card to buy food right now because you couldn't afford it. And now your interest rate on your credit card just went up. So now what are you going to do? I mean, you're looking at current market price and prices has raised the rate by 2.7 to 3% by the end of the year. That's if the Feds only raise the rate to 1%. That's a huge, huge amount. And that's not a softening blow. That's a hard hit for American workers as we're focused on moving up and knowing where we're going. Rents will go up, yeah, because most rents have to pay off or pay other people. I mean, when you own a building, you're usually paying a mortgage on it or some kind of loan on it. And those loan rates go up, you got to pay more, so you got to get more money to pay it. Sad. Sad state in America watching what's happening, of course. It's just one thing after another unfolding. Roe versus Wade getting overturned in the Supreme Court is a huge victory, I think. I'm personally against abortion unless it's absolutely medically necessary or there was some kind of foul play involved. People make decisions and they should have to live with them. It's a sad, sad truth. We're hoping for the best. We know what's coming. We know it's going to be hard. But in good news today, the first 3D printed lung is working. And a first ever 3D printed lung was developed and printed to finished print today, and it is working officially, which is amazing in the technology we've had and the increase in the ability of being able to help people with around the world. Amongst all the negative news, we got to highlight the best things in society as well, as that will be an awesome thing for the future, knowing that the capability of no longer needing a lung donation, but actually being able to reproduce somebody's lung will be amazing. 3D printed tissue is a lot less than actual tissue cost. But we'll have to wait and see what the outcome comes out of it. But it's an awesome future as it looks bright amongst all the dark, glim things we see. It's just got to keep your head up and keep pushing forward. Gas prices are ridiculous. Oh, it's crazy out there. That is crazy. But if anybody wants to call in, you're more than welcome to. Otherwise, I'm probably going to call it a night. craziness going on out there in the world, one day after another. I bless you all for being here. And of course, if anybody can afford to donate, we're graciously appreciated. Any donations we do receive. Fuel prices are going to be the death of everybody. That's yeah. Well, God bless you guys. Have a wonderful evening. We will see you we will see you tomorrow evening. Stay strong, stay true, and God bless America. We'll talk about COVID tomorrow night. I'll get all the numbers going so we have that ready to go. But we'll see you then. De La Vega.